I imagine most of us here have been labeled at some point. Introvert, foodie, overthinker, perfectionist, and all of this MBTI stuff. It seems that we use these tags to define others and even to introduce ourselves. But does a handful of words truly capture the full spectrum of who we are, our sorrows, joys, and complexity? Anyway, my own first encounter with the writer Milan Kundera was exactly in this modern way. I was typing those keywords into a research bar. Give me a book about love, existence, and philosophy. And then I found the book, The Unbearable Lightness of Being. It seems that today, everything, people, films, books, could be neatly packaged into a few clickable tags. But the moment I opened that book, I knew I was wrong. I wasn't reading a summary of ideas. I was opening a window into two characters' life, Thomas and Teresa. Guided by Kundera's prose, I began to explore their possibilities, hesitation, and even vulnerabilities. Thomas's love for freedom was shattered by anxiety, while Teresa was under a constant struggle. Their traits were not binary. They could not be reduced to a single label. They were intertwined. It was in that moment I understood reading a complex novel like this could be the gentlest yet powerful form fighting against a world obsessed with labels. The novel, after all, has been a companion to humanity for thousands of years, and its evolution is, in many ways, a history of fighting back against simplification. The earliest novel, like the Odyssey, was heroic adventure about individuals. By the 19th century, realist novels expanded their form. They were no longer about individual. Instead, they tried to picture a society like a mural or a panoramic perspective. In the 20th century, writers like Kafka and Joyce turned the camera inwards. They dove into a chaotic stream of inner consciousness. And then came Milan Kundera. Milan Kundera was not content with just telling a good story. He believed the mission of novels was not to prove a point, but to discover the possibility of existence. So, what is Milan Kundera's method? How does he let us feel those possibilities? Well, his method to create a characters is unique. He said, characters in novel are not born from a mother's womb, but from a situation, a sentence, and a metaphor. Take Teresa, for example. A key to understand her is an idea Milan Kundera called as vertigo. Imagine this. You are standing at a great height. The railing is secure, you are totally safe. But a voice whispers in your mind, what if I jump? It's not about a wish to die, it's a strange, seductive pull of your own vulnerabilities. That's exactly Teresa's vertigo shines. It's like in her love for Thomas, he was constantly worried about the possibilities of falling and fascinated by the possibility of falling. Kundera called this as her existential code. In Kundera's hand, fictional characters become vessels that let us safely explore the possibilities of our own existence. Consider another character, Jeremiah. Jeremiah was born from a single simple question written in Kundera's notebook. What is a poet? Kundera's answer is, a poet is a young man pushed onto the stage by his mother, yet forever unable to truly connect it with the world. Don't we all know someone like that? Someone who is filled with inner ideals and dreams, yet awkward and naive in reality. Try to put their words through exaggerated and ridiculous gestures. Kundera is not defining a job. He is trying to ask a question that, what is like to live between live torn between reality and illusion. And that, we can see why those characters feel so alive. But our world today is moving in opposite direction. We're flooded with information. To cope, our brains rely on shortcuts and tags. We live in a city full of strangers, where superficial interaction are the norm. The labels become the quick QR code we scan to categorize each other. And consumer culture encourages us to define who we are through what we buy, what we wear, and what we post online. The messy, rich texture of life is compressed into a few easily digestible symbols. And that is precisely where contrast value shines. They become a gentle reminder to slow down, to embrace complexity, and to face contradictions and vulnerabilities, because they are very proof of our own human nature. So maybe the next time we live in this world obsessed with categorizing everything desperately, complexity has become a forgotten virtue. So the next time, if you feel the urge to summarize a book, a film, or even a person, I invite you to pause. Try instead to approach them as you would open a book from Melanchthon, with curiosity, with patience, and resist jumping to a quick conclusion. I remember closing the book The Ambivalence of Being, thinking I had just finished a story about two people. But later I realized I was learning a new way of seeing, a way of seeing that allows for contradictions, that welcomes complexity, and face the contradiction and my own vulnerabilities. Thank you.